Hello everyone, welcome to lab number 10.2.3.5 in Packet Tracer, configuring Syslog and NTP. So let's open up our lab 10.2.3.5. So 10.2.3.5 and we will open the Packet Tracer file. Okay, right here. And we will open that up. Let's see. Everything is going okay in the live screen. Seems to be okay. Okay, I need to log in, sign in. Sign in. Let's see. Alrighty. Now cancel that, resize the window. This is my diagram, network diagram topology window, and I would also have my instruction window right here. Okay, so let's look at the instruction. Okay, here we're going to configure a few things, syslog and events. So let's look at the scenario. In this activity, you will enable and use the Syslog service and the NTP service so that the network administrator is able to monitor the network more effectively. So what we are doing basically, we are going to enable the Syslog. So all the events that takes place in our Cisco devices, they will be sent to a server. So, and they will be deposited and saved in a Syslog server. We're going to configure that. We're going to also configure the NTP network time protocol so that our Cisco devices, routers and switches, they will show the correct time, and we will even add the timestamp, the correct timestamp on our Syslog messages. So we will know exactly what time this event took place in the router, such as an interface going up or going down, any event that takes place of significance. Syslog server is going to get that message, save that message for us, so we can go into that server and see all the devices messages in the one place. Okay, so that helps monitor the network more effectively. Okay, so part 1, configure Syslog service. Step 1, enable the Syslog service. So I need to know how to enable Syslog services. Okay, so click on the Syslog. In this case, we have a dedicated server, a computer, that is our Syslog server. So we're going to enable that. In real life, you really don't do like that the way we do in the Packet Tracer, but just think of in the real life, you're going to have a machine, a server machine, where you're going to install a special software program that is our Syslog server. Either you're going to get a trial version free for 30 days, or you could actually buy an enterprise edition. So in this Packet Tracer, we're not doing that. In the Packet Tracer, we're just going to this computer Syslog and just enable it. Okay, so let's go to the Syslog server right here. This is our Syslog computer. This is all virtual. So, and I go to the services tab, click on this Syslog. Once I click on this Syslog, and then I see there's nothing has been logged because no event has been sent or saved in this server, because the Syslog services was not on before, it was off. So I'm going to turn it on. So once I turn it on, so this server will be ready to receive the syslogs, the event logs, and then I'm going to go ahead also configure my devices, network devices like routers and switches, to send their event logs to this server. Okay, so here I'm done with simply just clicking from it was off, I just clicked it on, and that's it. I'm done with this part. So my Syslog machine is ready to receive the logs. Okay, let's go to step number 2. Configure the intermediary devices to use the Syslog service. So I need to configure my intermediary devices, such as those would be routers and switches. I'm going to configure those devices to send their logs to the Syslog server. So step number A, configure R1 to send log events to the Syslog server. Okay, how do I do that? I go to the global config mode of the R1 router and I type the command logging and the IP address of the Syslog server. This Syslog server right here, its IP address, if you look at here, desktop config, its IP address is 10.0.1.254. So the IP address of this server is what I need to add to the router. So router will know where to send the logs. So very simple. So just that I have to type the command logging and then this IP address. So let's go into the R1 router. So here I am in the R1. I'll go to the CLI and then privileged exec mode, enable, global config mode, config T. Okay, I'm in the global config mode. So I'm going to type logging, L-O-G-G tab. It types logging for me. And then the IP address 10.0.1.254, 10.0.1.254. That's it. I'm done. So I have just told my router that, hey, send all your logs into this IP address. That's all I have done. That's simple. Now, configure S1 to send log events to Syslog server. Configure S2 to send log events to Syslog server. The same thing I have to do in my S1 and S2, those two switches. Same thing. So I'm gonna go right here and go to the S1, that's my switch, and type the same command, logging and IP address. CLI, enable, config T. Okay, I'm in the global config mode. In the global config mode, I'm going to type the same command again, log tab, logging, and 10.0 0.1.254. Okay, enter. I'll do the same thing with S2. Enable, config T, and log tab 10.0.1.254. Good. So I have done this part, step number 2, into all my devices, R1, S1, and S2. Okay, let's move on to the next step. Part 2, generate logged events. Okay, change the status of interfaces to create log events. So some events has to happen in that router or the switch, so that they will be sending those log events to the Syslog server. So we can go and check in the Syslog server what showed up. Okay, so let's do that. Configure a loopback 0 interface on R1, then disable it. Turn off PC1 and PC2, then turn them on. Those will be events that will be logged. So if I create an interface called loopback 0 in the router, then I disable the events, disable the interface. If I disable the interface, then that's going to be an event that, hey, the interface loopback 0 has gone down. Then I turn it back on again, type the no shutdown command, and it activates again. So it's going to create another event and send that also to the Syslog server. So let's do those kind of acts right here. So I'll go to the R1, create the loopback interface. Okay, so I'm in the R1. I'm going to type interface loopback. Just type L and type tab, loopback. Loopback says 0. Okay, so what happened? Look at this, actually event has taken place. that interface loopback 0 changed state to up. I am seeing these event logs that are coming up in my console connection. And then line protocol on the interface loopback 0 changed state to up. Now if I shut down the interface, there will be more events. Shutdown will be another event. So let's do that. I'm in the interface loopback. I'm going to type shutdown. Okay, enter. Now it changed the state to down and changed the protocol, line protocol, to down. So all this up and down, they should be events. Now what else they're asking us to do? Turn off the PC1 and PC2. Okay, so let's go to PC1 and PC2. We're going to turn them off. So here I am in the PC1. PC1, normally where do I go? I go to the desktop. Here I don't have to do that. I have to physically turn it off. So I'm in the physical in that tab. There's config tab, which I cannot go. Okay, there's desktop. We typically go here, but this time I'm going to the physical, that one. So in the physical, I see this switch power button. So I'm going to turn the power button off. Just click on the power button. It's going to turn off. Good, it turned off. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it back on again. So that will create events. So the S1 switch will send that to the Syslog server. Okay, so PC1, I have done that. How about PC2? Let's go to the PC2, also turn it off, clicking on it, and then turn it back on again. Okay, good. Now let's see what is next. Examine the Syslog events. Look at the Syslog events. Note all of the events have been recorded. However, the timestamps are incorrect. Clear the log before proceeding to the next part. So we're going to go look at the events. We have not configured time on the S1 or S2 or on the R1 yet. So every time the S1, S2 or R1 will send the event log, the log of the event, that log is not going, that record is not going to carry the right time. They're going to be all confused time with each other. They may not even have the same time. So let's look at the Syslog right now, what it looks like. So I'm here in the Syslog server. Okay, I go to the services tab. In this case, not desktop, services. And I can see, if I click on Syslog, these are some events that took place. I got some messages. Interface loopback, I'm going to go to maximize it just to see more. Okay, and I see the interface loopback changed state to administratively down. Line protocol loopback 0 changed state to down. Then fast Ethernet changed state to up and down. So all of those. And the host name, I'm seeing their IP addresses. This one's from 10.1.1 must be my router. 1.2 must be from my switch, and so on. Okay, 2.2 from another switch. Okay, now I understood that there's no time. See, time is blank right now because I have not configured to send the logs with timestamp on it. So this time, so at some step here in this lab, we're going to add the timestamp to our logs so that every time the log message comes to the Syslog server, each log message is going to have its timestamp, what time exactly that event took place. Okay. Okay. So now next. So they are asking us to clear the log event before proceeding to the next part. Okay. So whatever event that I have right now, I'm going to clear them. So I click on the clear log right here. Click. So all the log events are gone. Okay. So let's move on to the next step. Part 3. Manually set switch clocks. Okay. So in the switch, I'm going to set the clock manually. So how do I do that? I go to the privileged exec mode. Okay. And I type the command clock set. After clock set, I have hours, minutes, and seconds. Then month, day, and year. That's all I have to do. Okay. Clock set is the command. Remember that. So this way, but whatever time that I set manually, from that's going to be the time right now at this moment, and the clock is going to set from that time on. From that point on, is going to keep this clock. So Let's do that on the S1 and S2 both. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the S1, go to the privileged exec mode. Right now I'm in the global config mode, so I'm going to exit out of there. Here I am in the privileged exec mode. I'm going to type clock set, CLOCK SET, clock set, space. Now right now is 12:01 p.m. I'm going to type 12 colon 01 colon say 30 seconds. Okay, that's my hour, minute and seconds. Then today is what? May the 7th. I'm going to type May 07 and then 2020, today's time and date. Fine, I press enter. Okay, I did the clock set. Now also, well, that's all in this step one. We're going to do one step at a time. So I'll do the same thing on my other clock. Okay, so this time I'm going to copy this command. So on the S2 I'm going to copy from here, then I go to the S2, the next other switch, S2, exit from the global config mode. I'm in the privileged exec mode. I'm going to paste that command, clock set 12:01 30. Okay, this time I'm going to make it a few seconds more. Maybe I'm going to since about a minute passed, I'm going to do 12:02. Okay, now and enter 2020. Okay, 20. So I have to go all the way left arrow, right arrow key, because mouse click does not work. Now I can press the 2020. Okay, this is my command, clock set, time, then a date, month, date and year. Enter. Done. Okay, then what's the next step? Step number 2 here, enable the logging timestamp service on the switches. I have set the time clock right as much as I can, but then I'm going to say to the log services that put a timestamp on my log messages. To do that, I need to go to the global config mode, and I'm going to type service timestamps log date time millisecond, MSEC. Okay, service timestamps log date time. Okay, so here's what I'm in the S2 right now. In the S2 I'm going to go to the global config mode. So I'm going to type config T. I'm going to type service timestamps, SERV tab, timestamps, just type T tab, timestamps. Okay, log L, date time, just type D tab, date time. Okay, M, millisecond. That's it. That's all I have to type. Service timestamp log date time M second. Okay, and then I'm going to press enter. Done. Now the same command I'm going to issue on the switch S1. So I'm going to copy this from here, easy copy, and then go to the S1. This is S2. Okay, S1, and here I'm going to go to global config mode, config T, and then paste that command, service timestamps log date time M second. Enter. Good. Minute second. Okay, now done deal. Now part 4, configure NTP services. Now this is a network time protocol. Okay, network time protocol is another way to set our clock. I can manually set clock by typing this clock set command, which I have done to 2 of my switches, S1 and S2. Okay, so on any other device I could choose in my network now to enable the NTP service. So automatically with another time keeping device, another clock device that has a authenticated time, my router can synchronize its time to that NTP server, that clock maintaining server device. Okay, now in this activity we are assuming that NTP service is being hosted on a public internet server. If the NTP server was private, authentication could also be used. So I actually have a machine, a server machine. That's my clock. That's running on NTP server, okay, network time protocol. So it will have the correct time right here. I have the NTP, and my other devices such as my router can synchronize its time to this server machine. So I don't have to go manually type the command clock set and manually set my own time. I don't have to do that. So let's go to the NTP service on NTP computer right here. So open the services tab on the NTP server and turn the NTP service on, and note the date and time that is displayed. Okay, so here's my NTP. I go into that computer, click on the services tab, and where is my NTP service? DNS NTP service right here. Okay, so NTP service right now is off right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. Okay, here I turn it on. So now authentication enable disable. Authentication is disabled, so I don't really have to put my password and things in here. In real life, there are servers in the internet that are open, or they may require authentication, so you need to then actually log in with the password. So right here I only turned it on, so this machine has now the network time protocol services on. It's going to be running. Then I can choose any of my network devices here to connect and synchronize their time with this NTP server. Okay, so I'm done with this machine. Now step number 2, automatically set the clock to the router. Set the clock on R1 to the date and time according to the NTP server. So all I have to say to my router that, hey router, just correct your time, synchronize your time with this server that is running. So I have to type the server's IP address. How do I do that? I go to the global config mode and I type NTP server and the server's IP address. Okay, I'll do that. And its IP address is 64.103.224.2. Fine. So I go to the router R1, go to the privileged exec mode, then go to the global config mode. Okay, and I'm going to type NTP server, SER, okay, tab, NTP server. And what's the IP address? 64.103. 64.103.224.2. Okay. Okay. So that is the server IP address. Enter. That's it. Now I have told my router R1 that just look for this server machine in this IP address and set your time according to the server's time. Okay, good. Step number 3, enable the logging timestamp service on the router. So I need to do the same thing on the router. Tell the router's logging service that, hey, logging service, use the timestamp. Any log event happens, you are going to send that log message to the Syslog server, but include the time of the event. So how do I do that? The same thing that I have done in the switch. The command was service timestamps log date time minute second. Okay, so this time I'm gonna copy this command, and I am in the router. Okay, I'm going to paste that command, service timestamps log date time minute second. Enter. Okay, good. Now, so I have done that as well. Okay, part number 5, verify. So as of right now, I'm going for the verification by looking at the point. I have 100 upon 100 points. So lab point wise, lab is done. I'm going to do some verification now. Change the status of the interface to create event logs. Re-enable and then disable the loopback 0 on R1. Okay, so I'm going to again enable and disable the loopback interface on the R1. So that will generate new events. And then I'm going to turn off the laptops L1 and L2 and turn them on. Okay, so let's go turn back, shut down the interface, or enable and disable again. So I'm going to type interface loopback. L0, I'm in the interface. I'm going to type no shutdown because before it was shut down, no shut. So I enable it. It became up again. See, notice the message now. Even here in the console, I'm getting the message that it shows the date and time now. March 1 at this time. Okay, link changed, interface loopback, state to up. So here is the time stamps always there. The date from the start with March all the way here. Okay, that's time stamp. So now I'm gonna shut it down again. I'm gonna type shutdown. So I turned it, I did no shutdown, I activated, I enabled it, then I disabled it again. They will be all creating events. And let's turn off and on laptop, L1. So L1 is right here, that's my L1 laptop. I click on the L1 laptop and I want to turn it off. Here is the switch. If you'll see my mouse right here, there's a switch button right here. I click on it, so laptop is off. Then I turn back on, laptop is on again. Same thing I'm going to do on the L2 laptop, the next laptop, L2, same thing. Turn it off and then turn it back on again. Okay, all those events should create logs. So now I'm going to go and check the log server. Examine the Syslog events. So look at the Syslog events. Note all of the events have been recorded and the timestamps are correct as configured. Note R1 uses the clock settings from the NTP server, and S1 and S2 use the clock settings configured by you in part 3. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Syslog server to look at the logs. Yeah, all these logs have happened. Now there's a time. Okay, everything has the date, time, everything is there, and host name is the IP address that it came from. Okay, wonderful. So this lab is done. So go ahead and save the lab and be sure to submit the lab. We have just one more lab to go from my end, then you will have all the labs uploaded after this. So today I'm going to go ahead and finish up another lab in maybe an hour time or so. So I'm going to go there and do that, do the lab for you in the next maybe hour or so. Okay, so stay tuned, and after I finish this other lab, all the labs, all the chapters will be uploaded. So be sure to do all the labs and chapters by this Sunday, May 10th. That's your deadline. Okay, so I'll catch you all later again today, and have a wonderful day.